Greetings, my dear friends. Yeah, there's a delicate art to survival. uh, and by that I mean it's not just about living dirt cheap comfortably, which a lot of people take as, you know, building a little hermitage like this, off grid, living cheaply and being comfortable physically. But it goes beyond that. It's uh, it's about how to live comfortably in your heart's mind. Uh, that basically could be one word: heart's mind or mind's heart. Doesn't matter how you put it, but just don't make the division or the separation between mind and heart. Now, that's been done for eons. Uh, and it boils down to the fact that we're just not we we're not we're not using our body parts correctly. I mean, think about this. We separate our mind from our heart and our heart from our mind. We figure that for rational behavior, we have to go to we have to use the intellect and the mind. And if we want to fall in love or, frolic around in emotions, the only place you can do that is in your heart. Well, we make that kind of separation. You're already kind of on the wrong track in my humble opinion. I'll give you an example. In 1997, as I've mentioned before in other videos, I decided I needed I needed to find a place uh, to ease, my tired soul. Um, that desire started in my heart. I needed a place to go take a rest for a while. And but I didn't just stay there with a dream. I didn't just leave that desire as a desire in my heart. I'd never gotten anywhere. I had to take it and transfer it to my mind, to the intellect. Okay, is that possible? Is it feasible? Can I do that? Can you do it on, a monthly income of $600 a month in 1997? And then with a little bit of good fortune and happenstance, I've found this property that was affordable and doable. It's a little bit more difficult these days, but as time goes on. One of these days I'll talk about this nomadic lifestyle. These people are really kind of on the right track if you're super low income. I'll do a video on that, on how to do that correctly, though, and cut through some of the nonsense. I mean, bless their hearts when you're living in $100,000 RV. Well, okay, and there's nothing wrong with that. But my audience seems to be older people and people geared to living with a lower income. So that's who I talk to. I don't talk to anybody and everybody. Hell, you can't get an old hermit to shut up. But so it went to my mind, and I thought, well, how can I do this? And so I needed a place instantly. Easiest way to do that was find an old beat up travel trailer for a couple of $1,000. Pay somebody $100 to move it up here because the truck I had wouldn't have done it. Instant home as soon as it was set. I leveled it out and stepped inside. Bam, I'm home. And then you develop it from there. Water in, water out, sanitation, heat, light. But as soon as as soon as I walked in and sat down, that whole process became full circle. It went right back to my heart. It was like, hey, this is nice. Okay, so how do I find comfort and ease? Now, how do I find real comfort and ease, which is in the soul? I happen to be at a small, tiny town library, And I came across this book, and I don't know how it's going to show up. And I've had people say that I need to turn my volume up. The only thing that we've discovered is that Lori says check your media settings for volume, and that might help. I'm doing all this on an old iPad. Somebody else said, turn it sideways, and I tried that, and I couldn't even see my face. Anyway, so I hope this comes up where you can see it, because I don't know how to edit these things. Otherwise, I just write it out. But at any rate, it was volume one of a book consisting of a series of writings called Kindly Bent to Ease Us. It was written by an ancient Buddhist mystic, Longchen Pa. And it was translated and annotated by a great Buddhist scholar, Herbert V. Gunther, one of the best. So I picked it up and said, hey, I need anything that can kindly be bent to ease me, I'll read, I didn't understand any of it. Gee whiz, I'll tell you. There's nothing like sometimes trying to read the writings of an ancient mystic. My goodness, But he ended every section with, and so may mind troubled by rampant emotions and frustrations, today find comfort and ease. So I read the book. I was living in complete solitude for 9 years. I had nothing else better to do. And as I've told you, solitude is a good thing, my friends. It's a beginning tool. And then I read it again. It got to be a little clearer, and I read it a third time, and it became a lot clearer. And that's the beauty. When you read something or you listen to something that somebody's saying, if you really want to get the message, don't skip over it and say, oh, Jesus, I don't know what the hell he's talking about. Read it again, read it again. It's like the mystical force looks down and says, hey, he's really trying to get it. Bam, clarity. Boom. People leave comments, beautiful comments on this channel, and I'll sometimes respond with boom. What that means is you got it. I learned that from a great Buddhist, ancient Buddhist sage. When everybody was looking for enlightenment, he had all kinds of followers coming to him, and he finally, in his lectures, was saying, enlightenment. What are you doing? Mostly it was a young Western audience. Don't worry about it. And he spent his time cracking jokes. A lot of people were irritated. They paid, a little bit of money. Actually, they didn't pay any money. This particular guy, and I wish I could reference his name, but I've long since forgotten. Didn't charge. Wasn't like a lot of the mystics and spiritual teachers in the 60s that, made a fortune. Yeah, well. But he didn't charge. And he even fed you when you went to one of his seminars. I had a friend that went. And somebody in the audience during one of his talks raised his hand. He says, we've come here for enlightenment, and you keep cracking jokes. We appreciate the humor, but, hey, come on, enlighten us, And he said, my friends, that's the whole point. Because when you laugh, when you're in rip-roaring laughter, it's impossible to think. And it's our thoughts that we can get carried away that takes us into the depths of hell. It's not just rampant, silly heart emotions that we get carried away with. That's our whole being. Laugh. I've made some videos and I'm not being political or or criticizing anybody, even if I'm, I seem to be, it's with humor, it's with humor. So that set me off onto my quest for understanding. But that boils down to I could have thought about naming this "Everything's All Right with the World" and people in it, but that's kind of broad. And I mean, it's not. I mean, there's a lot we can find that's not very agreeable, but it's our mindset and our heart's mind, finding that comfort and ease, finding that understanding. So I discovered it in mysticism. So this old, silly ass medical engineer that was always thinking logically, linear, sequential thought, all of a sudden stumbled, upon mysticism. And it's because it has always been my natural inclination. And I just had never realized it before. And I'm going to do something that, might be a little tedious, but I want to read something about mysticism, the true interpretation of mysticism. It's a belief that union with or absorption into the deity or the absolute or the spiritual apprehension of knowledge inaccessible to the intellect may be attained through contemplation and self-surrender. It was written by one of the great Christian mystics, Saint Teresa, in her writings. Saint Teresa. Well, it was my inclination. I knew it was dead on. So I read a bunch of teachings from the mystics. A lot of them were hard to understand. And from all kinds of religions. Rumi, the great Sufi, wonderful stuff, wonderful stuff. And it brought me comfort and ease because it put me in a space where I could rest in the right view. And that's a Buddhist thought. All this Buddhist, Sufi, they're all the same. They're all saying the same thing. Resting in the right view. I've mentioned it before. In the vast expanse of empty, open evenness. And that's how you survive this world. No, tragedies are bombarding us daily. Geophysical, atmospheric, human behaviors. I think they'll go on forever. I don't think this ever ends. The why of it is unknown. The why of it is unknown. We have to come to the conclusion to be able to accept sometimes the why of a certain event or happenstance is unknown. And the other thing is that St. Teresa mentioned that is dead on is surrender yourself. Well, the Christians have been talking about that for years, but the mystics, other Eastern philosophers and mystics have been talking about that. One of the greatest things I discovered when I was in 9 years of solitude was all of a sudden it hit me. I discovered my own insignificance. Holy cow. My own insignificance in the cosmic realm, in the cosmos. Yeah, it was a relief. I know we've been taught to have self-esteem and all that other stuff, but nah, when I surrendered myself, and you've seen pictures of the front of my hermitage. There's some Chinese characters, Chinese or Japanese. I've long since forgotten, and my painting skills are not that good. But basically, it's words that basically say, "Don't know." And that goes back to this wonderful, wonderful teacher that I studied his writings. He said it's real simple when everybody was saying, hey, I want enlightenment. How come you're always, making jokes and everything? He would tell them, only don't know. Now, that's contrary to everything that, most people are taught. They're supposed to know everything. As an engineer, hell, I was supposed to know everything. But no, 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 no. Just give that a little bit of thought. Only don't know. Because when you admit that, you surrender to yourself. I'm going to tell you something that happens, and it's mystical, and I can't even tell you why. But the knowing comes. The ancient wisdom from the ancient gods that have walked forever before us, and that mystical knowing just arrives. But it doesn't arrive until you surrender and you say, hey, I don't know. Why would it? Why would it? Why would a mystical force of knowledge reveal itself to somebody that thinks they already know? It only makes sense, doesn't it? Don't separate the mind, don't separate the heart. It's all one part. And you can find comfort and ease. But it does boil down to you have to ask yourself, what am I inclined to do? Now, psychologists have separated different people types for years, and there's some validity there, and it's interesting reading. Narcissists, extroverts, introverts. I was starting to read not a recent study, a study that was done by a psychologist in the 40s, and he started labeling off the types of personalities, and he was using letters INFPR, type and all. As soon as I get in that kind of complex, I just shut down, then it occurred to me, hey, it's not the personality types or our intentions that really matter. You got to first examine inclinations. You got to look at your inclinations. What are you inclined to do? And then you can also use it to observe other people. Well, what are their inclinations? Because that's kind of almost like genetic in many ways. I'm inclined to be contemplative. I'm inclined to, live the life in a very slow pace. Part of that was that 1952. I acquired or whatever an acute case of poliomyelitis, polio. I spent, a year and a half in the crippled children's ward up at Bellevue State Hospital in New York. Because I've never had to be told to slow down, smell the roses. Hell, I've never been able to generate enough forward motion fast enough to be told to slow down. So, as I've mentioned in other videos, it seems like a big negative, huh? Oh, golly. No, what was the underlying positive? I was naturally inclined to contemplate. I wasn't running around, zooming around on a motorcycle, doing backflips or chasing women or any of the other stuff. I mean, who knows what would have happened if I'd been physically able to. I probably wouldn't be here talking about this. I wouldn't be some old mystic hermit sitting up on top of a mountain who has never left. Oh, hell, in the last 3 years I've been up here. Thanks to a very, very, very giving, generous, wonderful, open, beautiful partner, my wife, Lori. She goes down and gets supplies once a month. She runs Hermit's Rest. She's got better movement than I have. My mobility is a little bit limited these days. But my heart mobility is not, and my mind mobility is not. But why is that? That's because Lori has always been inclined to be like that. And so have I. And so when we met, people used to ask me on occasion when they'd come across me, hey, you ever going to get married? You know, I'm in my 60s at the time. Oh, yeah, right, sure. You know, oh, I'd like a companion. I mean, you know, I would have liked a companion. I built this place actually to share it with a companion. I just had to wait. I just had to wait 40 years. What's 40 years when you're waiting for the best? I was inclined to wait. Lori was inclined to wait. And she came out from the Midwest and somehow found herself walking down my driveway and said, hey, you're living my dream. I could tell immediately where she was at. And I said, hey, come share it with me. We've been doing it for the last 10 years. So it's inclination. Are you inclined to do this? Are you inclined to slow down? Are you inclined to want to know how to find comfort and ease? So study your inclinations. They're very, very, very important. I'm going to do a video. Oh, and keep your sense of humor. I'm going to do a video coming up. I just can't resist. I've been watching as long as I got data. I have data and I can do it. I like to watch some of these YouTube channels. And especially the ones on, homesteading on, on $1 a day or whatever. And they're all great. They're all really, really neat people doing neat things, But some of this stuff, because I've had some comments, beautiful comments about, hey, partner, thanks for being real. Well, you know, I can't be anything else but real. Um, you know, so some of my videos have told you the nitty gritty of what it's like and all this other stuff. And no, I haven't been gifted with, with a trust fund or anything else, or rich parents or anybody else. So, I got nowhere else to go but real, okay? But those people are valid. Those people have validity. And they have thousands of subscribers, and rightfully so, because they're attracting people that have the same kind of inclination. And I think it's great, you know? And but that's where some of my videos have also been about. Use a little critical thinking. I mean, if you're really looking for something, okay, and you're inclined to do that and to look for the truth and not be, sucked in by something that seems like super groovy way to live. Use some critical thinking, and then you can see through. You can come across those channels that are, have a lot of clickbait. With their wordage. Oh, I quit. Van life, or all this other stuff. You know, or nudity, or partially naked, beautiful young women. That's always one that's clickbait. I just go beyond that. I'm not interested in that. You're not going to get me. You're not going to get me there. But and I find, sadly enough, that a lot of it has nothing to do with it. I came across one, off-grid life is a joke or whatever. And hell, it was some guy that's claims he's living, cheaply, but hey, look around. He's not living cheaply. He hates people. Oh, and there was a commenter that said, hey, you got me there, buddy. Yeah, hate people. Well, he hates people as he has videos showing, him opening up gifts that people have sent him from his Amazon wish list. You're never going to find an Amazon wish list on my channel, and I'll tell you why. First of all, I don't need anything, but secondly, I'm out. I don't get deliveries. UPS. Off grid hermit. Yeah, right. And then here comes the UPS truck. No, 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 with the gifts, No, so, that's not going to happen. I just got a notice, in fact, recently, that I guess this channel's doing well. I don't know. And, it's something about you're ready. you're on the verge, or you've almost qualified to be monetized, where you can have that little dollar sign, and people can join your channel and give you money. Hey, thank you very much, you too, but I don't necessarily see that happen. And also, nor do I want it to happen, okay? And I also love these people that look you dead in the eye and say, I was told to start an Amazon wish list. Yeah, right. I was told to, ask for money or to start a Patreon account so you could support me, and I don't know. It's okay. It's just that I don't. I don't think I don't think that's going to be happening here. I'll get the big wave off from Lori. I wanted to talk a little bit about that. This is going on longer than normal, but I'm running out of data. Some of it might be my last video for the month. But Lorinda's wave off goes like this. Here, I'll show you. I stand back. Okay, I'm watching a YouTube channel. Lori's about 6 feet away, in her chair, reading a book, and the people are talking, and all of a sudden you get the Lori wave off. Like, she doesn't even look up. She just does that. I know right then and there she's seen through it. But so what? Do it with amusement. I watch those channels, and a lot of them are great, and some are just downright amusing. And I'm not going to get uptight to some guys or some ladies BSing about, not telling you 100% the truth. I rely on the fact that people, if they use a little bit of discernment and critical thinking, can see through a lot of the silliness. So what? I don't care if they're making $2,000 a month, from YouTube. So what? Hey, But just, just keep a sense of humor. Don't separate the mind from the heart, and keep a sense of humor. And give a little thought to what are your true inclinations, and then follow them. Oh, it's going to take you to that vast expanse of empty, open evenness. It'll take you into the forever beings. A great place to be. See you later.